But then because of corruption, the corruption is all pervasive and has pervaded all spheres of life. People are scared of people will pay tax honestly if they are not taxed otherwise other than the law. You go to any income tax lawyer, any sales tax lawyer, any officer, you will find that
Yes, please.
yes, that nothing moves unless you pay something under the table. So this is also one of the reasons for evading the tax. I mean, this comparison is taxation. I was discussing this matter with one of my friend who is retired income tax principal chief commissioner. He says the study is also going on. What is the amount we recover from income tax and what is the money spent on its recovery? That includes the expenditure on the appeals, litigation, and the High Court, Supreme Court, and the recovery enforcement. So is it feasible? Now, people, if this taxation is made simple, or suppose I make a presumption, I give an example, if this income tax is repealed, so every money is white money, people will invest, people will build houses, people will invest in industries, there will be demand and there will be development, nothing will be black. We are making our citizens thieves, we are making them criminals. We have seen that people are, we have recently seen the money was required from the house of Parth Chatterjee, minister, I am naming him, from the deputy secretary of the Chhattisgarh, and from to a couple of the Madhya Pradesh. Where is this money? Where from this money is coming? And this money is not recorded in the books. This money is definitely has been obtained by illegal means and therefore tax has been evaded. So unless we put this a strong hand on the corruption, I think we'll not be prompting citizens to play fair, and nobody wants to be called a thief or criminal. But the system and the rules and the heavy taxation, this is making the possible tax evasion. Therefore, it is not fair to call them criminals or offenders. They are, of course, technically they are offenders because they have not paid, they have not gone by the book. But then it is very difficult to compare them, to categorize them with the murderers, rapists, or the other heinous criminals. This is how I take this problem. Thank you, Mr. Gordon.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Saxena, for giving your views. And according to Honorable Justice Saxena, although the tax evasion is a crime, but you cannot compare this as a heinous crime, or you cannot term it as a heinous crime like murder or rape or others, because according to him, if a murder took place, you cannot bring back the life, while the money you can recover by legal course or something like that. Although he has given the example of the income tax department, that how it's a meager amount which we are collecting as income tax and how much expenses are there. And there are some figures which has come recently, is about 5 crore something odd has filed the income tax returns this year, which works out to be almost 3% or odd of the total population. And out of which also only the figure says that less than 1% are those who have paid the tax, the rest are all exempted, and those who have to file the thing. So when this is the situation, and still the courts are giving the more emphasis on the tax evasion than the murder cases, and recently the new law which has been approved, not law was existing, but it has been giving the legal sanctity, approved by the Honorable Supreme Court, which says that it is more heinous crime, whether it's a money laundering or it's a tax evasion. Because right now we are seeing how the enforcement directorate are after everyone whosoever is either involved in tax evasions or no. Earlier it was the duty of the income tax department to verify whether there is a tax evasion or not. I still remember the famous line of Nani Palikiwala ji. He said once in a budget meeting which he used to hold after the budget presentation in a stadium in Bombay, and he said at that time that tax planning is not a crime. Tax avoidance or tax evasion is a crime. So if anybody is doing a tax planning, you cannot term it as a crime. But unfortunately, what we are seeing for last few years, that anyone, even if you have not paid tax in time or something, they have been hounded like they are terrorists or they are drug peddlers. Anyway, thank you very much,
Mr. Goel,
Justice Saxena.
Mr. Goel, I want to add, Mr.
Yeah.
Goel, I want to add one more thing. What are
Yes,
the
please.
benefits they are giving to taxpayers? Suppose I say, I go to police station, I say I am income taxpayer, they will not offer me chair. I will not get any benefit. What is incentive for the taxpayers? That is also one of the reason people are not, prompted or allowed to pay taxes. So they should give benefit to the taxpayers who are serving the country, who are infusing their money into the country's development. So that is another reason.
Honorable Saxena, I should not comment it, but I know those who are paying tax, they have been subbed by the departments more. They have been asked to do all those types of things which a non-taxpayer is not doing. And that is why, and unfortunately, even our judiciary is not proactive in this aspect. They are more proactive when there is a celebrity is being hounded, then they can open the court in the night at 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock. But when the question comes of murder, nobody bothers. And FIR is must for a murder. But for a tax evasion nowadays, there is no FIR is required.
No,
Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Saxena. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi. Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi is practicing in Supreme Court, New Delhi, and various high courts of the country for over 20 years. He has been appearing in the courts for public causes besides commercial litigations across the country. He appeared in more than 50 public interest litigations, which includes health issues, education, environment, aviation issues, etc. He has also raised the issue of free testing of COVID-19 to all citizens in the private as well as government labs across country as petitioner. He has also raised the issue of regulation of airfares by way of PIL in Delhi High Court. He has also raised the issue of Shaheen Bagh protest in Honorable Supreme Court on the ground the fundamental rights of common citizens should not be violated, and several other issues which are in public domain. His life is dedicated to millions of masses who are in need of the justice. Welcome, Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi on our show. Advocate Sudhi, you have heard what Honorable Justice Saxena has mentioned. And he clearly mentioned that there is a distinction between tax evasion and murder. Murder is a heinous crime. You cannot bring the life back, but it's an economic offense. We would like to know your views because you are doing lots of public interest litigations. We would like to know your views on today's very, very relevant topic, and that is tax evasion more heinous crime than murder? Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi, please.
Good morning, Mr. Lal, and good morning, Justice Saxena and other co-panelists. It is always a pleasure to be present in your program because your program is basically dedicated and devoted towards the topics which are helping the people of this country. And no doubt, black money, I mean, if I can name black money, there is no official definition of black money in economic theory. There are several different terms as a parallel economy, black economy, and unaccounted economy, and irregular economy. The simplest definition of the black money could be possibly the money that is hidden from the tax authorities. This is in a common parlance, it is the definition of the black money. But I'm very sorry to say that the black money is the heart of our economy. In a negative sense, but it is the reality. Whether it is in education, when you have to take admission there, you have to pay money. And that is unaccounted money. Even the school authority does not give you receipt. If you go to the police station, suppose you are involved or there is allegation against you, you have to pay the money. This is the reality. If you go to the hospital, if you are not getting any kind of bed, of course, I mean, you have to pay something. So the black money is the reality of our country. And yes, the big black money, which are with the politician, no doubt it is a serious issue. And so far as the comparison between the black money and the heinous crime, according to me, I think the black money is standing at the highest pedestal than the murder and heinous crime, because the black money is weakening the backbone of economy of the country, which are affecting the common people of the country. Inflation are going up. The prices are going up. It is very difficult for the poor people to stay in this country who has having no money. And basically, the black money comes from it can be defined in two categories: illegal activity. First is illegal activity. The money that is earned through the illegal activity is obviously not reported to the tax authorities, and therefore it is a black money. And the second, legal and unreported activity, the second category comprises income from the legal activity that is not reported to the tax authorities. Mr. Lal, I would like to tell to you that if there is an evasion of a tax, you have to consult some income tax officer, and there is every possibility that that tax will be paid. This is the reality, and we, as a lawyer or the common citizen of the country, we are aware of this fact that the tax evasion is the reality of this country. Everywhere there is a tax evasion. The politicians are doing, the bureaucrats are doing, businessmen are doing, and the pile of the black money are going on and on. And we know it right from the very beginning. But we always use a diplomatic language wherever it is possible. Whether in your discussion I can use a diplomatic language that no, there is no black money. But the fact of the matter is the black money is an all-pervasive phenomena in our politics, in our day-to-day life. Everywhere the black money, you pay the black money, you will get every kind of facilities. So if you give the tax, you have to suffer. Lot of problem you will have to suffer. So therefore, the black money is the easiest route by which you can get the comfort. So this is absolutely a menace, and this menace is eating into the development of this country, and the Supreme Court has rightly stated that it is breaking the spine of the country. And it is thus the most serious crime, I am telling you, because this is my feeling, that the murder can affect one family, can affect one society, can affect one state. But the economy is affecting across the country, across the world. Everything is based upon the economy. So the comparison is totally justified. And I believe that it is important, because if you will not really keep it in the highest pedestal, the things will going to worse. Lalu Yadav is the product of the black money school. The Partha Chatterjee also again, the recent example how the things has become 50 crore. It is unimaginable. The people of Bengal are poor, compared to the other state. And 50 crore stashed in one house. And that in the house of Parama. It is absolutely shocking. And apart from that, this money is found everywhere. It is not that the money is not there. The black money is there. We know where it is. But we cannot do that, because I need the resources to face the consequences of law. Because our law is a blind. Our law does not see the emotions. Our law does not protect me, the whistleblower also, because in the court, when you go in the public interest litigation, the court say, what is your locus? So you have to fight against the mighty state, which have all the resources. So there is already perception in our country that there is a different law applied differently to the people. This is a perception, it is justified perception. Because if the law is denuded of its universal application, it stops being the law. It becomes a majoritarian law. And this is happening not today, but it has been happening from time immemorial. I am telling you, if you are rich, if you are powerful, the law will not touch you. This is the fact, because you have the ability to engage the highest paid lawyer of the country, and you see the result. Jagan Mohan Reddy, he is the chief minister of the Andhra Pradesh. What is happening? Such a, a hoard of black money has been stashed, but he is the chief minister. The sad reality is that I am not really here to, categorize any politician as a criminal or, black marketeer or anything. But the fact of the matter is that it is the public perception. The public perception is that the black money, even if really you are found with the black money, the legal process is so cumbersome that it takes years. And after taking years, the people are satisfied. The litigants are disgruntled. The common people lose their interest and they even stop watching. What happened in Mulayam Singh case? Disproportionately said, I was the witness. Nothing has happened. Mayawati, nothing has happened. So, the sad reality is, I am not really attributing any allegation to judiciary, but the fact that judiciary is not the party, but judiciary is a part of all this kind of system. I am telling you, judiciary has to be strong. I am not criticizing judiciary, but the judiciary has to play its role. I am telling to you, because after COVID, now the law minister had said, where he had said, I am not aware of, but 50 crores cases are pending across the country. Can you imagine? I go to the court and the dates are given. I go to the Supreme Court, in a minute, the matter, you miss the matter, the date is given or it is just missed immediately. So what I'm trying to say, our judicial system needs a rethinking. All these, black hoarder, all these black market, all the politicians who are involved in the black money must be accounted to, must be held responsible to, and the justice must be served to those people so that it can give a clear message to the society that if an individual is involved in such kind of crime, he has to pay the price. But unfortunately, it is not happening on the ground. There can be several reasons for that. I'm not going into the reason, Mr. Lal, but the fact of the matter is that it is happening everywhere. It is not that we do not have a law. There has been a law. If I'll go take your attention, in 2018, Fugitive Economic Offence of Act 2018 was brought, to stop the menace. Again, there was the Central Goods and Services Tax 2017. Again, Benami Transaction Act 2016. The Black Money Act 2015. And of course, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. We have several laws to protect the legitimate money. We have a law to punish those people who are crooked, those who are ruining and looting and plundering the Indian economy. So there should be a law, there should be application of the law. But unfortunately, the application of law is not there. There is a law. You can make 1,000 of law. The implementation is the biggest problem because our system is so slow, so delayed that you can't even think of bringing the culprit to the justice. So in a very simple sentence, I'm trying to say to you that the black money is the reality and it is undeniable reality. It cannot be taken away. I'm telling you, the law is not alone, responsible for, rooting out the black money. It is the public awareness of the common people, and it is the court responsibility that whenever such cases is reported to the court, it should be decided within no time, because the message should be clear. The people should be aware of, if I will be indulging in these kind of things, the problem will come up and I will be served justice. Here, the fear of not being justice served, if there is a fear that the justice will be served, then the people will not really commit the crime. So there must this gap of a fear and the law must be bridged, because the law is a reflection of the society. So my only, at the end, one word I will take, that diplomatically we can talk about, but the reality is something else. The reality is that the black money exists, and the judicial system, which is meant to serve the country, somewhere it is not suffering from the resource crunch. And there are judges, they are doing their job, but the criminals are not really punished on a time. So my only issue is that yes, the black money is there and black money is going to be there unless and until the people are there.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi, for giving your views. Although Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi says that the tax evasion is a bigger crime than even murder, because a murder means one person life is only lost. What difference it makes? One family will cry. And he has given some names. He has thrown the names, although he says doesn't want. And I can repeat because he has already put the names like Mulayam Singh Yadav and Mayawati. He says the case is dragging. This is because of the political interest. Everybody knows how to break the parties and how to keep somebody silent for the election. So there is nothing new. He has also mentioned about Lalu Yadav, but he has forgotten to name the that famous telecom minister earlier, Himachal Pradesh, who's in the Sukhram. Money was found, and when he joined the ruling party, he has become pure. So it is all a political thing. But he has not mentioned, Advocate Sudhi has forgotten to mention about those innocent people or the farmers were killed, butchered by someone whose father is a ministry in Delhi. So basically what Advocate Sudhi says, the money, black money is more important. It's those who are economic offenders or those who are tax evaders, they are doing a more heinous crime than a murder. So one can go and do the murder. It is not a heinous crime, but this is a heinous crime. But anyway, his views, it is a contrary view what just our Honorable Justice Saxena has said. Let's see what other panelists will speak. But definitely when I will come, I will ask the question to you again. And Advocate Sudhi, although I know you might be having affiliation with some party, there are allegations about a present Assam Chief Minister also, that he was in the Congress, and when he switched over from Congress to the ruling party, now he's become pure. So the tax evasion in India is also a political tool. And money is how much? I have given you the data. Only 10.3 billion tax evasion, billion dollars is a tax evasion in India, compared to USA 330 or 20 billion dollars. But they are not hounding the opposition parties like what we are seeing every day. The media is only showing those things, what is happening in the road in your capital Delhi also today. Anyway, thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Advocate K.C. Jain. Advocate K.C. Jain is a renowned social activist and Supreme Court lawyer. He is practicing law for last 42 years on the civil side. He appeared in Supreme Court and Allahabad High Court in several important cases. He is active on various social platforms of the city of Agra. He filed several PILs in Supreme Court regarding the RTI Act, etc. Recently also he filed a petition relating to road safety. His large number of articles were published in law journals. His articles were also published in many newspapers on various subjects, including environment, RTI, culture, etc. He has varied interest, especially in RTI and environment. Welcome, Advocate K.C. Jain, on our show. Advocate K.C. Jain, you have heard what Honorable Justice Saxena has mentioned, as well as what Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi has mentioned. Advocate Kishan Jain, are you there? Yeah, Advocate Jain. So, Advocate Jain, we would like to know, you have already heard what our earlier panelists have spoken. Now, we would like to know your views on, is tax evasion more heinous crime than murder? Advocate Kishan Jain, please. Advocate Jain, can you hear me? Advocate Jain? I think some audio problem is there.
Thank you, Mr. Lal, for inviting me and giving. Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yeah,
thank you,
we can hear
Mr.
you.
Lal,
Go
for
ahead.
inviting me. Thank you, Mr. Lal, for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to share my views. The question is whether economic offenses are more heinous.
Advocate Jain, I think the problem with the network issue is there. Please get your network.
Crime than murder. No doubt about it, that murder is a crime not against an individual family, but there. Hello. Can I join?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Murder is a crime against the entire society. And not only the family of victim suffers, but the society as a whole suffers. Because people live in fear of crime, fear of when a girl is raped, then the entire girl community fears such crime being perpetuated against them. Therefore, I treat the heinous crimes to be murder or such heinous crimes to be more grave. For a country, we need money. We need money in the form of taxes, which is used to eradication of poverty, to address various issues like pandemic, like diseases that are spreading, the poor who are not able to sustain themselves and get treated. We run hospitals, public facilities, all that is possible only with money. Therefore, tax is needed, essential for the society. Plus the money, ill-gotten money, money which we get without payment of taxes, that is also used for various illegal purposes. Therefore, tax compliances ensures orderly society. But no doubt about it that murder is more heinous. We need to address the issues of the criminal cases, their expeditious trial, their prosecution being effective, public prosecutors being honest, and bringing to book the people who commit crimes. We see that cases, the trials against heinous crimes, they also take long time. By the time the witnesses die or they turn hostile. Therefore, we need to not only come to a conclusion that murder is more heinous crime, but we must also make sure that the murderers or the persons committing such crime and sin in the language of religion, they are being punished. Therefore, I would conclude my statement by saying that we need to address the issue of crimes in the society at a much faster pace by creating more courts, by having good public prosecutors, by completed within time frame and not being lingered for decades. But at the same time, the economic offenses, they also be dealt with the iron hand. But if we compare both the crimes, one is economic crime, another is crime against humanity, then probably the murder, no doubt, is a graver crime and offense against the society. I conclude with that, and thank you very much.
Murder is more grievous crime than the economic offense, says Advocate Kishan Jain. And according to Advocate Jain, although economic money plays a very important role for providing the facilities to the poor or those who can't afford, but you cannot compare the economic offense with a crime like rape or murder, which he says very clearly that and according to Advocate Jain, the main reason in India is because the late and not a decisive decisions taken in the courts because of pending so many cases. According to him, more judges are required, more court staff, and more good quality of public prosecutors are required, which I am sure what he means to say that those who are from the government side, they are not appointed properly. So again, there is a corruption there or not, which he has to clarify when I will come back to him next time. So thank you very much, Advocate Jain, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Advocate Deo Prakash Singh. Advocate Deo Prakash Singh is the advocate of Patna High Court, dealing mainly in service matters, labor law, family matters, and criminal matters. He is Advocate Central Administrative Tribunal Patna, Advocate CGIT Dhanbad, Advocate Appellate Court, Department of Home, Government of Bihar, Managing Partner Mars and Mars Legal Advisors LLP, Member Regional EPFO Committee Bihar, Member Grievance Redressal Committee ESIC Bihar, Member Minimum Wages Committee Labor Department Government of Bihar, Chairman IR Committee CII Bihar State Council, Member Governing Council Bihar Skill Development Mission Labor Department Government of Bihar, Chairman Labor Resource Subcommittee Bihar Industries Association, President of Central Association of Private Securities Industries Bihar Chapter, Co-Chairman Legal and Conflict Committee Central Association of Private Securities Industries at National Headquarters. His articles are published in several prestigious magazines. He is author of Labor Law Support LLS, published by Bihar Industries Association, Bihar, released by ex-president late Shri Pranab Mukherjee. He is having 21 years of experience in manpower consultancy organization, employing more than 50,000 persons and complying with their statutory labor law obligations. Welcome, Advocate Deo Prakash Singh on our show. Advocate Singh, you have heard what Honorable Justice Saxena, Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi, Advocate K.C. Jain has mentioned. And they have a different views, although the Honorable Saxena says very clearly that it is basically the murder is more heinous. Advocate Jain also agree with this, but Advocate Shashank Dev Sudhi feels that economic offense is more heinous. He has given examples of your state, Lalu Prasad Yadav. He has given other names also, except the BJP names. He has given the names of all the other political parties' name. But still, and he says that murder is nothing, it affects only one family. We would like to know from you, your views. Is tax evasion is a more heinous crime than murder? Advocate DP Singh, please.
Good morning, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, please, go ahead.
You have given a long introduction of a short man. Well, sir, good morning again. I have been listening with rapt attention, Justice Saxena and the other participant. There are two words, heinous and tax evasion. In one Patna High Court judgment in 2015, the offense has been defined. What is petty crime, what is serious crime, and what is heinous crime. Petty crime is a crime in which the maximum imprisonment is for 3 years. This is the definition given by the Patna High Court. Serious crime are the crimes in which the maximum imprisonment is from 3 to 7 years. And the heinous crimes may be categorized for imprisonment up to 10 years or beyond. This is the categorization. Even the fodder scam, which you have categorized in Lalu Prasad Yadav fodder scam as a heinous crime, it is not a heinous crime under that definition because the maximum imprisonment he has been given is not more than 7 years. Tax evasion, as very aptly decided and defined by Justice Saxena, that it is a theft, and theft is not a heinous crime at all. Heinous crime is a crime when it affects the mentality, it affects the psyche, it affects the sensibility of a large human being. It is first instance you can say it is inhuman, just like Nirbhaya Khan. Nirbhaya Khan was the heinous crime. Rape, murder. One pregnant elephant in Kerala was murdered. That crime has come into the on social site like a heinous crime. And now I am taking to a different aspect. The Vikas Dubey encounter was the heinous crime. The Hathras rape case was the heinous crime. And the lockdown in the 2022, when millions of workers who have gone to feed their stomach, but when it was abruptly locked down, millions of the workers were walking on the roads with their children, empty foot. That was a heinous crime by the state. But tax evasion is maybe a heinous crime when that evasion is being done to fund the terror activity against the country. That may be heinous crime. But if the highest judicial bodies say that tax evasion is a heinous crime, it has wide ramifications, and the enforcement agencies like the tax officers and now the ED officers, they will become the butchers, and they can put anybody within the incarceration. And this will create a havoc in the country, and then the whole law will become a mockery. Because tax evasion, you have very rightly defined that planning of tax is not a crime. Planning of tax may be defined by whenever anybody gets a notice from any tax authority, there was suppression, where suppression clause was there. When there is a full suppression clause was there, then they will just decide it is a heinous crime and they will put you into bar. So imprisonment, civil crimes. Just in yesterday, the Chief Justice, Mr. Ramanna, has given that commercial transactions should not be being given the clock of crime in the Reliance case, and he has added that in the case, especially in the case of larger organizations like Reliance, means the smaller organizations may be given the criminal angle, whereas the larger organizations shall not be given the criminal angle. That has been given. This judgment was the study judgment of Chief Justice Ramanna. But if the commercial activities, if the country wants to go on, this type of difference should not come on. And at the outset, I would like to say and add that tax evasion should not be categorized until unless it is for funding terror or anti-country, anti-national activities. It should not come under the heinous crime. It should come under the theft, as Justice Saxena has aptly defined. This is the very crypt and confined my address on the issue. If on the further interaction, I will add. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Singh, for giving your views. Although Advocate Singh used a very, very strong word, butchers, for the ED officers, I'm sure that he has to be very, very careful. Tomorrow, somebody might be knocking your home and take you and without FIR, because now the judgment is very, very clear by the Honorable Justice Khanvilkar that there is no FIR is required. They will just pick you up, put you behind the bar and do whatsoever they want to do. And you have nothing, you cannot even appeal easily, like what we are seeing nowadays in Mumbai and Delhi, what is happening today. So Advocate, I'm sure that Advocate Singh might not having that immunity as an advocate, but from the ED department also, but be careful to use this word of butcher. But what he said is very interesting. One more thing which he has said, he says that present CJI, our Honorable Justice Ramanna, has given a judgment in which he says that the commercial transaction should not be criminalized, and he mentioned that especially when the corporations are big like Reliance. So it means the उनका खून है और हम सबका खून पानी है. There was a famous dialogue by Saurabh Modi in one of the earlier movie, Rustam Saurabh. So similarly, it is like this, that Reliance or Adani's or the big people, if they are doing any tax evasion, it is not a crime. It is not a money laundering, but a small corporations have. Anyway, thank you very much, Advocate Singh, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my
Mr. Goel,
yes.
And then Mr. Singh may also be charged with that he has received fee from particular client who has earned from crime, and therefore ED will come picture. Recently, we had that Yogi others.
So it means the advocates, if they are receiving any fees from the person who is under the money laundering, money, the money which is a dirty money, or we say that it's a then the advocate will also be called for the ED.
Not at all. Advocate will not be taken as leader for that crime, because anybody is presumed innocent when it comes to the court. So advocate is if the advocate will not do, it will be a dereliction of duty.
But not after Justice Khanvilkar's judgment. He says no, you can't.
Justice
you please read. I think we have to discuss this.
Just after Khanvilkar judgment, Chief Justice has given another judgment that until unless any illegal criminal proceed is decided by the court, the person who is who is under the allegation can enjoy his property till it is finally decided by the court. That judgment
That
has
is
been
well
given by
said.
No, but before I will go to my last panelist, just for clarification for me and for the viewers, you mean to say if suppose somebody will be called by the ED department and he is proved or not proved, but the ED department, enforcement department says that he is a person who is doing this money laundering, it means whomsoever he is paying the money, they all will be called and they will be punished. It means if he has taken the food from a restaurant, if he has taken a medical help from a hospital or and consult and advice from a CA,
Right.
or so they all will be termed. I think this is a judgment which is a remarkable judgment, and people will compare this judgment with the earlier judgments of Justice Gogoi, and they says Justice Khanwilkar will be getting very plumb positions very soon, but I don't know. That is the what's it's happening in the WhatsApp University, not the things, but whatsoever it is, let's discuss in the next round again. I would like to invite my next panelist guest. I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Advocate Tahir Ashraf Siddiqui. Advocate Tahir Ashraf Siddiqui is the founder of TASC Law. He is practicing in courts in Delhi since 2011 and is a qualified advocate on record in Supreme Court of India. TASC Law regularly advises clients in a wide variety of cases in different forms in relation civil, contractual disputes, criminal law, company law, banking, intellectual property disputes, competition law, environmental litigation, etc. on behalf of the public as well as private clients. He is appearing before the Supreme Court, Delhi High Court, District Court, tribunals, and various regulatory forums, including arbitral tribunals. An alumnus of NLU Jodhpur with a gold medal for the best academic performance in class of 2011 for BA LLB honors. Tahir is also on the panel of Delhi High Court Legal Service Committee and actively volunteer pro bono legal services for clients from economically weaker sections of the society. He has many reported judgments and publications to his credit and often writes for legal portals on contemporary issues. He is also invited regularly to present his views in legal conferences and judge moot court competitions. So welcome, Advocate Tahir Ashraf Siddiqui on our show. Advocate Tahir Siddiqui, you have heard all our earlier panelists, and you have heard the interaction between our Honorable Justice Saxena as well as Advocate Singh. Now, we would like to know your views, because you are an advocate on record in Supreme Court, so you are watching what is happening day to day. So we would like to know your views on, is tax evasion more heinous crime than murder? Advocate Tahir Ashraf Siddiqui, please. Please unmute. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Goel, for having me. I had the privilege of listening to all the panelists before me, and they have made all very, very valid points. So I will. I would also like to point out that the definition of the heinous, petty, and serious crimes that was put forward by Mr. D.P. Singh actually comes from the Juvenile Justice Act, because whenever any person makes a plea of juvenility, then for serious offences, a special bracket has been created for 16 to 18 years. So the Patna High Court, when it referred to that definition, was actually referring to the Juvenile Justice Act, presumably. I have not had an occasion to read the judgment. Having said that, in terms of law itself, because except under, say, Section 276C of the Income Tax Act, there is no other provision under the Income Tax Act which provides for punishment of death or life imprisonment, as is done under Section 302 of IPC, which is the punishment section for murder. Obviously, law believes that murder is more heinous than income tax. Both obviously are crimes against state. Both are prosecuted by state agencies, one by the prosecution department and the other by the income tax department. So both have their own position. Obviously, the income tax evasion leads to economic destabilization, it cripples the economy. Similarly, murder is also a crime against society. If one person is not safe, then obviously other people cannot also be safe. And in both cases,
Justice Saxena,
yes.
please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please go ahead, Advocate Siddiqui.
So obviously, in both cases, the fear of the law or the majesty of the law only can make people comply with legal requirements. So if somebody is there, if somebody is planning to commit a murder and he believes that he'll be put behind bars, then that will act as a deterrent. In the other cases, obviously, tax evasion, intentional. When I say tax evasion, I'm referring to intentional tax evasion. In that case also, if the income tax department has the tools, processes, institutional infrastructure to prosecute those tax evaders, then obviously the chances of tax evasion will also be low. So, and when Mr. Goel referred to the tax evasion figures, the absolute, I believe, referred to the absolute figures. That in itself can be very misleading, because in India, the tax compliance itself is very low. Only 2 to 3% of the people pay taxes. That the better data, in my view, would be to see the percentage of tax evasion rather than tax evasion as a whole. So if United States has a compliance of 99% and there is a tax evasion of an absolute number of, you said, 330 billion.
About 330, I will give you the exact figure.
330 billion is what you said.
Then,
but that I believe is only one.
Yeah, yes, please. It is 330 billion US dollars. In
Right.
comparison to India, it is only 10.3 billion dollars.
Yeah, but that is only
And what-
1.3. That is only 1.3% of US GDP. And India's GDP is so much lower than the US.
So,
all I'm saying is,
I just want to stop you here. I just want to. It means it is under our convenience. Whenever there is a when we want to put the percentage, we take or talk about GDP. Otherwise, we always take the percentage with vis-a-vis our population. So it is in our convenience that okay, the tax evasion is only this much. Otherwise, we talk about the population. If you see the percentage for the population, excuse me, if you see the population wise, the percentage. What is the percentage? 10.3 billion. And if you see the percentage of the 330 of the population of USA, then what? Then come to that point. So it means
no, I'm grateful.
Very few people. Very few people.
I am grateful for the comparison and the intervention. So only 2% of the people pay taxes in India. I would love to have the figures in the United States. So if you look at the taxpayers, then obviously it will be much lower. Will be very misleading. So as goes the old idiom, statistics lie more than what they reveal. So, so wherever there is an intentional tax evasion, obviously it cripples the economy, and the reasons are the same. So rather than going into the question as to what is more heinous, we should believe as to how to control these two crimes, which are both crimes against state. And the answer to both is to have a neutral, well-funded, impartial, trained, efficient prosecution system, both for tax crimes as well as for criminal offenses, including murder. So if we have a police which is well-reformed, which is neutral, impartial, which doesn't go by any extraneous considerations, then both murder as well as other crimes will be in check. We should have public prosecutors who are efficient, impartial, who have the resources, and the courts, obviously, with the capacity and the will to hear those cases. The same remedy also lies for the income tax department, where we should have institutional processes, where there is optimum manpower allocation for the number of tax cases that there could be. Similarly, we should also have enough funds that are given to the income tax department to modernize itself, to be able to choose choose the best of state-of-art practices for catching the tax offenders. Similarly, there should be lack of intervention by political forces, by extraneous considerations in economic crimes as well as social crimes. such as murder. At the same time, the judiciary also needs to be proactive in both these areas. Because to bracket one particular crime as more heinous than other also sort of takes away from the intent or the motive factor in both these crimes. If state imposes, as Justice Saxena said in his opening remarks, to tax evasion, for example, there is always a contrary picture, the other side. Just like there should not be any tax evasion, there also shouldn't be like tax terrorism. Now, what is tax terrorism? When the state imposes arbitrary taxes on people, when the tax filing is inefficient, when people who can be caught in the net are imposed with higher burden of taxes, for example, say the service class, and the others are given an easier route. Then obviously the intent, the motive to pay taxes on part of the citizenry is also not there. Similarly, if these taxes are not utilized well, as is the case with most developing countries like India, and is used for other purposes, where the public infrastructure is not adequate, where the state doesn't give back in services, for example, say educational services, hospitals, the motivation on part of the common citizen to pay taxes is lesser. Just like, say, in a case where a man or where a society or a section feels disadvantaged and does not fear the rule of law. So similarly, in that cases, if there is an offense against a particular person, the tendency to take the law in its own hands is greater than to say we pose faith in the public justice delivery system, because either the police can harass the victim himself or herself, or people generally do not have faith in the judiciary or the judicial system as a whole, including the prosecution. On the other hand, larger corporations are given a tax break. The bilateral investment treaties or the tax havens, for example, also provide an easier route for tax avoidance or tax planning, where large portions of income legally can get unaccounted. Forget about legal means of tax evasion. So in both these cases, we need to have an impartial prosecution and an impartial tax administration to establish the supremacy of rule of law, because both tax laws as well as criminal justice delivery system is implemented by the state. It is not part of the civil system where the other party is always the state, and therefore the primary responsibility also lies under the state, lies to the state under the constitution. Thank you. I'm open for any questions.
Thank you very much, Advocate Tahir.
First of all, I just want to address the learned.
Let's switch on your video, please. Switch on your video.
Yes. Judgment I quoted was, it was Criminal Appeal Single Judge number 2117 of 2019 of Patna High Court. And that the juvenile justice judgment was, I think, Justice Deepak Gupta of 9th January 2020. So both judgments are different, but the things are.
No, I understand, sir. Only I'm saying is that in that judgment also juvenile justice act must be an issue.
Analogous things are.
Because this classification of petty, heinous, and serious comes from the Juvenile Justice Act itself.
Yeah, but the definition of Patna High Court came before in the.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I would like to ask the questions, and today's program is very interactive. We have seen how the interactions were going on among the panelists. There's a very healthy sign. Now my first question goes to Honorable Justice Saxena. This question has been asked by the Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma from Mathura. His question is, murder is a crime. One moment. Advocate Sudhi, please be on mute. Advocate Sudhi, please keep yourself on mute, please. Yeah, just please be mute. Yeah, thank you. Now, my first question goes to Honorable Justice Saxena. The question is from Advocate Ramesh Kumar Sharma from Mathura. The question is, murder is a crime against humanity and tax evasion is financial crime. Can both be equally treated, or someone is more heinous than the other one? Honorable Justice Saxena, please.
Before I revert back to your question, I would like to say two more things. One of my friends has said that judicial system is not working. Yes, it's right that we are not working up to their expectation because other governments are not working at all. In Madhya Pradesh, Chief Minister says bulldoze his house because his son has committed pelting stones, and house of a lady is bulldozed. Whether the district minister or SP did not know that this is not legally possible, should not they have adhered to the law? But they did not. Just oral dictate comes and they do it. So they are failing. The steel state has completely failed. They are not now. Entire burden comes to judiciary. We are also part of the system, this society. So undue burden has been placed upon us. Other wings are not working. Executive has completely surrendered. Police has completely surrendered. Now ED people are going, you rightly said, to a particular section. They are not going to everyone. They are going to selected ones. That shows, that displays the mindset of these authorities, these agencies. Second thing is, therefore, the criticism that judiciary not working, I acknowledge, but I also say in the same breath that others have completely surrendered. At least we are doing something. Some people are getting relief from system, judicial system also. Second thing is, now we have heard that more than 200 IRS people were compulsory retired. All they were custom officers or excise officers. Are the other wings of civil service are honest? Tell me single case where he has been punished. Don't we know that the politicians you named, Mr. Singh named, they have amassed, unaccountable wealth to the tune of billions, and everyone we see entire road, entire building, the hotels and in India and outside, everybody knows. But then, what is income tax officer doing? Have they been punished? So we are after the small people. In fact, corrupt people are respected. I tell you, in Lucknow, there is CMS run by Gandhi. He asked me that he has invited politicians to inaugurate, you also come. I said, Mr. Gandhi, you have to take number of favors from the government. Therefore, you do favor, but don't invite him as a chief guest in the college, because the student will treat him as a role model. That will not be just. I know he did not hate, but then that's why. So corrupt people are respected here. Corruption, in fact, the evasion or everything else comes down to the corruption. And unless we weed out corruption, nothing can be done. Our system, prosecutors in states, prosecutors independent. Tahir said prosecutors should be impartial. Yes, they should be independent, but they take independent view. They are justifying the wrong action in the Supreme Court and High Courts, and they know it is wrong, but still they are justifying because there is dictate. So this has to be, system has to be independent. Bureaucracy has to be made independent of all the pressures. One of the lady officer to the 1980 batch, she said, "What is protection to us?" 309, 310, 11. Oh, no, this doesn't work. Now recently 3 officers have resigned. They have sought voluntary retirement in Uttar Pradesh, 3 IS officers. So therefore, we have to make the bureaucracy independent. Corruption has to be checked first. The politicians, bureaucrats, they have to be targeted for unearthing the black money, which my friend it has come to stay. That then only. Now I'll say I will revert back to the question raised by Mr. Sharma from Mathura. Of course, they can't be compared. Murder is decidedly more heinous. Tax evasion is not. Tax evasion. WhatsApp we have बैग फाड़ के हमको आटा दे दीजिए सो दैट जीएसटी इज अवॉइडेड. दूध फटेगा तो पनीर का टैक्स लगे क्या, मतलब इन कमिंग ऑन व्हाट्सएप. So there, small people are being taxed, unduly taxed and harshly taxed, and the complex laws, complex rules. So people are made to resort to the corruption. So I submit that murder is definitely a irreversible process, deliberate act, and it has to be put at a higher pedestal so far as criminality and propensity is concerned.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Justice Saxena, for giving your views that the murder is definitely more heinous than this tax evasion. Now, my question goes to Advocate Sudhi. Advocate Sudhi, do you think money is more important than a life? We have seen during the pandemic, people with bags and lots of money crying and going to the hospital, begging for their life of their child. But you are saying, no, what difference it makes? I am asking you, very straight question. According to you, money is more important or life is more important? If it is such, then we should close the hospital. Everybody should be provided money. Let them feed that hunger from the money, like we have heard about the Sikandar, that he was giving the gold, you eat the gold. Otherwise, why we can say the heinous crime is more economic a crime or whatsoever Justice Khanwilkar has mentioned, or you still agree with what Honorable Justice Khanwilkar has said, that the money laundering is a heinous crime more than the murder? What you say about this, Advocate Sudhi?
Am I?
Yeah, you are audible. Please go ahead.
See, my view has not been changed, Mr. Lal, right? I must say to you, I am in agreement and very much agreeing what Justice Khanwilkar has said, while deciding the constitutional validity of twin petition for bail of amended section 45 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 Act. In this respect, I would like to tell to you, my learned friend has given the Patna High Court judgment differentiating the connotation of hideousness and heinous or whatever like. I agree. The judgment is an important. Judgment defines, and we are a lawyer, we are carrying forward the torch bearer of justice, the beacon of justice. But the fact of the matter is that heinous, if you go by Oxford Dictionary, it is a cruel. It has not been defined. It has been defined as a shocking incident. It has been just defined a cruel, evil, wicked, whatever adjectives which had been stated there. What my intention to tell that it is hideous, because see, the entire system of our country is on the ransom. The money laundering is one of the heinous crimes which not only affect the social and economic fabric of the nation, but tends to promote other heinous offenses. This Justice Khanwilkar has said. And I would like to take your attention to the fact that the heinous word has come for the interpretation in Bachchan Singh case versus the state of Punjab in 1980. Death penalty has been held to be a deterrent in that particular judgment. So, and subsequent also, the law commission has discussed all these kind of things. I'm not going into definition.
Advocate Sudhi, my question is very simple. Money is more important or the life? Just give in one line only, because
I'm telling you, if the COVID-19, the pandemic is any kind of indication, I must say the money is more important than life. Because of money, the oxygen has not been got by the people, and due to lack of the oxygen, the people died, and the rich people who are having money have died also, but within the hospital. So what
Advocate Sudhi, I will stop you here. We have seen in COVID-19, the money could not save the lives. It is only, and it is a failure of the government. You cannot save the government. Government could not provide the oxygen cylinders. So it is not the fault of the government. It is not the fault of the public. Money is not the factor. It is our doctors who save the life, not the money, which what you can say that money can save the life. So I disagree with you. I disagree with you in this part. I must say the life is more important, and we have seen even the money people were begging for their life. Although they have tons of money, they could not save the life. So,
1 minute. Mr. Lal, what I was trying to say is different thing altogether. In the present scenario, what is happening? That I have said. I have not said that the life is less important than the money, and money is more important than life. What I was trying to say, nowadays the money is omniscient, omnipotent. Everywhere the money you can purchase anything. What I was trying to say, yes, life, it is a universal truth that the life cannot be purchased by money. I am telling you, this is something which is justified. I am not to define it, but what I am trying to say, money laundering, because this statement has been given in the context of money laundering. I am telling you, because how it is affecting the society. So my statement, the money is more important. Why the people are stealing money? Why the people are stealing the money? Why no? That is the
thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Advocate.
Nobody is saving the life. Doctor might be saving the life because it is their professional duty. But the fact of the matter is that due to the money, lack of money, the people are dying. They are,
Okay.
sleeping on the
Okay,
pavement.
thank you.
Death is taking place. Try to understand.
Time is short, so I have to cut you. But
So my
thank you.
point is that Justice Khanvilkar had stated the clearest and truest, statement that
I will come to that point next. We will keep up on the Honorable Justice Khanvilkar's judgment. We are going to keep it in the next, definitely one more media conference. Now my question goes to Advocate D.P. Singh. Advocate D.P. Singh, what Advocate Sudhi has mentioned, and earlier you have heard everything. Now my question is, this tax evasion, if it is a heinous crime, it is only related to the parties which are not a ruling party, or is it for everyone? If it is for everyone, whenever there is an allegation, do you think we should have some independent body to check the tax evasion, not a body like Enforcement Department, which is doing the selective one? And that's why, like in murder cases, you have a police which is investigating, but there is an FIR and everything. While because of this Justice Khanvilkar's judgment, there is no FIR is required. The Enforcement Department can walk in and call anyone and put you in the behind the wall. Do you agree what Advocate Sudhi has mentioned, that money is more important than the life in the economic offense context, what he has mentioned?
It is without
Advocate
question
Singh,
that
please.
life.
Time is short.
It is without question that life is more important. It is without question. The life is more important. Money is secondary. Secondly, the word heinous is nowhere defined in IPC, Indian Penal Code. It is just an import of word in the criminal activity, just like maar diya, kutti kutti, kaat diya. This is heinous crime. He has shot dead and then he has been butchered into pieces. That is heinous crime. Heinous crime is very, very much defined like Jaghanna Prad. This word cannot be imported in tax evasion. I am very, in outside I said that what Justice Saxena has said is just a theft, suppression of the taxes, the money which should be given to the government, that from the income. It is another part that if this suppression is from criminal proceeds, or this is being utilized for funding the terror activity in the country or international activities. Until and only that, it cannot be dubbed as a heinous crime. That's my take.
Okay, thank you very much, Advocate Singh. Now, my last question goes to Advocate Tahir Siddiqui. This question has come from Miss Hemlata. She is former airport manager, Chennai. And her question is willful attempt in evasion of tax lead to fraudulent activities? If yes, then what are the consequences? She has asked this question, although our topic is a bit different. Our topic is tax evasion more heinous crime than murder? But anyway, if you would like to highlight this.
Right. The answer to this is yes. If there is a willful attempt to evade tax, then obviously you can be prosecuted by the Income Tax Department. Penalty can be imposed to even more than the taxable amount. So if your tax amount is calculated to say 10,000 rupees, in cases where there is willful attempt to evade taxes, there could be up to 200 penalty also. You could also be imprisoned in certain cases. I think section 276C, because time is short, I will not go into the details of the provisions, but you could refer to say section 276C of the Income Tax Act. There are other provisions also. So obviously don't evade taxes at a personal level also will be my advice.
Okay, thank you, Advocate. Okay, now my last only one, yes or no. Honorable Justice Saxena, my question to you is this judgment of Supreme Court, you agree that this money laundering or tax evasion is a heinous crime more than the murder? Do you agree or disagree? Yes or no?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no. Emphatic no.
Thank you very much. Advocate Sudhi?
Can you repeat question, sir?
Yeah, the question is, do you agree with Honorable Justice Khanvilkar's judgment that the money laundering or tax evasion is a more heinous crime than the murder?
No, of course. I mean, the money laundering case is the heinous of the crime, right? I couched it in
Okay.
a specific
So
term.
you agree with Justice Khanwilker's thing. Thank you
Yes,
very
of
much.
course.
Of course. Okay. Thank you. Advocate DP Singh, do you agree with
Don't
this?
agree, sir. Don't agree.
Okay. And Advocate Tahir Siddiqui?
I
Please
believe
unmute. Yeah.
that I believe that murder is obviously more heinous than
Okay, thank you very much.
tax
So
evasion.
viewers, today you have seen that our esteemed panelists have given their views, except one of our panelists who was disagreeing. According to him, the money is more important if it is earned illegally than the life. Although others says that the tax evasion is not that heinous crime than the murder. But one thing is very clear: from where this tax evasion is taking place, don't you think it is a failure of the government if the tax evasion is taking place? Why we are comparing a murder is being done by someone individual, but the tax evasion is in connivance with the government, whether it's a politicians or whether it's a bureaucracy. Until unless this is not go to a judiciary also is responsible when you are delaying the justice for so much. The tax evasions people are bound to do, and the one of the judgment which we are going to discuss, that the big corporates can do the tax evasion. There is no problem because they are allowed to do this. It is not a heinous crime. But if it is a small company or a small individual, if he is doing some tax evasion, then it is a criminal act, which is very, very sad. Although it has been done, said according to our advocate, it has been said by the present CGI. But we have to study, and we will put a program on even this topic also. So thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Karu News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, Newsgaon se Samvad Saroकार News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, as well as first shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And in our endeavor to bring to you every day a new topic. And tomorrow in media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Our topic is, can Indian women break the glass ceiling? Yes, you have heard correctly. Can Indian women break the glass ceiling? And our panelists are Dr. Urvashi Mittal, District Vice Chairman, Inner Wheels, District 301, New Delhi. Dr. Rashmi Kundapur, Additional Professor, Department of Community and Family Medicine, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Hyderabad. Miss Brinda Shine, Director, Synapse Consolidated, Kollam. Rotarian Ritika Gupta, CEO, Mass Saraswati Hospital, Mathura, and Advocate Avishi Dhaka, Supreme Court, New Delhi. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goyal at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Sudhir Kumar Saxena. Thank you very much, Advocate Shashank Deo Sudhir. Thank you very much, Advocate DP Singh. Thank you very much, Advocate KC Jain. And thank you very much, Advocate Tahir Siddiqui, for joining and giving your views. And thank you all the viewers for watching our show. Thank you very much.